2 weeks ago I was at the .fmp, and there I was presenting a small short presentation about how to use a React project within the FileMaker web viewer and to have the communication in both directions, from within the web viewer and from FileMaker calling the web viewer content after the full web viewer content is established and running. So not during the initiation, but after that. And the reason for the demonstration, or to do the demo for the presentation, was because I didn't find anything about it in together with for a React project. So I will at the beginning I will show you a few slides, or I start with the slides. Most of this, I guess, you will know. So this are you seeing my screen? Yes, you see my screen. The presentation was, yeah. Did someone ask something? No. Yeah, FileMaker with React and the bidirectional communication is the main topic for this. Few lines about myself. I'm self-employed developer from the Munich area. I'm developing custom applications for small business units, and in other projects I'm also doing with, what is this? Okay, with in other projects that we are also supporting some enterprise customers. Yeah. Meanwhile, I also developing using React native iOS apps and Android apps. Yeah, I did a lot of presentation at the .fmp during the last years, also on the German FileMaker conference. I visited also a few times, many times. I said yes, it was many times. The DEF CON at the US before Corona, before COVID. So that was called DEF CON at that time. That's and examples of my projects you can find on my website, and also on the GitHub repos that I posted also some examples. So what we are looking at, what is simple JavaScript libraries versus UI frameworks. Small examples. For instance, the full calendar or Chart.js I will call simple JavaScript library, and UI frameworks like React, Vue, Angular, and so on. And then we will go to the demonstration, and I will show you how I did it, the bidirectional communication. Yeah, simple versus UI frameworks. Simple, I mean, with simple libraries, I mean these libraries that you can use in HTML pages directly using the script tag without any other necessary things. All functions of the library are accessible directly in the window context, and with the perform JavaScript in web viewer and the JavaScript function within the web viewer, the perform script with option, we can communicate in both directions. So it's no more a big deal. And how it works, can you see in the presentations that I did last year? There are some examples about this. And UI frameworks on the other side. These libraries you cannot usually use directly in the HTML page using the script tag. The programming with the UI framework is usually supported by a bundler. The advantage of this, or using this, is you can use a lot of helpers during the development. You can write it in TypeScript. You can use, for instance, for CSS, the Tailwind library. and the bundler is taking care of everything. Usually you are developing on the web server, the development server, and the result is a compilation by the bundler. It's a highly optimized JavaScript, CSS, and HTML code that you can then use in your project. And this is very usually it's also very highly optimized and compiled down to the bare essentials. Yeah, the disadvantage that I said last week also. Yeah, the other side, the functions are not accessible directly. This is what we will look in the demo. And on the other side, some of the projects they cannot be used directly or they loaded directly from the disk. You need a web server to serve them, to host them, and then you access the web server as a source. Yeah. Here's some a small example about JavaScript is not equal JavaScript. The example is showing a button which is increasing the counter, and on the left side you see the pure vanilla JavaScript code, and on the right side the same functionality but using React. And as you can see on the left side, yeah, when most of us are familiar with this stuff, we are accessing directly we are using directly the JavaScript functions which are supported by the browser, and we can access the elements, the objects on the website, and do the interaction and so on. And on the right side, you are using functions which are provided by the React framework, and you are programming only with these functions, and then you put the result when it's compiled, when it's used as a HTML page, it's the same, but the programming is totally different. Yeah, and now we can look into the demo and show how look how I realized it or how I did it. The demo is maybe just the last slide. You can find it on my GitHub page, and this is the first site layout when you start it. This is in this. It was a little bit larger. Well, in this simple web viewer, we see here, this is just a web viewer, and on the top you have the FileMaker elements, the field, 2 buttons, and the refresh button, and the popover here at the right. And this content, the gray content, is loaded from this field. So in this field is the full code. And now we can communicate between this FileMaker field and the field which is here in the web viewer, in the web environment. So when I put here something ABC, I can send it, or no, I get from FileMaker. So it's pulling the data from FileMaker and putting it into the web viewer. And on the other side, when I change it here, I can send it back to FileMaker, to the field. And the same way, this was everything. Both communications or both tasks was made within the web viewer. And when I put this back, when I want to use it from the FileMaker and push it or send it to the web viewer, I use this two functions there, the 2 buttons. I put the other send to web viewer. This is send, and check the state. This is a special function or the function that I'm not pulling everything from or something from FileMaker and put it in the web viewer, but I'm checking what is happening at the moment in the web viewer. And this is what I'm checking is the state, whether the data in the web viewer has changed or not. And this is what I'm showing here. The value has changed, false or true. When I send it to FileMaker, for instance, or get it from FileMaker. Oh. What happens now? I can check here with the check state button whether something is here changed or not, and this state what you are seeing here is checked. What was the reason for this function? Here you see the dialogues. Data is saved. When I change here something, the value has changed, true. And when I check it now, I see state is 1, or the value of this is 1. Data is not saved. Yeah. What was the reason for this function was, the reason was when the user is changing here in the web viewer content or environment, and then is closing the window. When the window is closed, you lose every data, every changes made in the web viewer. So before the window close, I trigger a script which is checking the state of the content of the FileMaker of the web viewer. So here in this example, it's not implemented, but this is the reason for the check state function. So these are all possible communication ways from within the FileMaker web viewer to the FileMaker field, and vice versa from the FileMaker field to the web viewer. Okay. And this is made, as I said, a small React project. The project is here also in the repository on GitHub, so you can see how it was implemented. The index file, this is where everything starts, and as you know, I load just the TSX or index as a JavaScript file, which is having the full project with the full React project. And now I have to set a way or find a way how to access the functions within the React project. And I found a webhook, a React hook, which can be used for that. React Gateway is the component which I wrote for this, or I'm using to have everything inside. And the hook is use imperative handle. Is the hook which allowed us to implement. And to find the hook was not the hard part. The hard part was to find how to use it, in together with FileMaker. And what we have to do is we have to write the functions on the one side, and on the other side, the function must be then published to the window context. Yeah, and this is made here with this declare interface window React Gateway any, and I use it now in the form view. The form component is everything what we see here in this web viewer, and here you can call this I don't know how much how deep into this I should go, because I don't think that this is so interesting at the moment when you are looking at this or when you are hearing my explanations. But here, this more or less, these two functions are, or the component form and the component React gateway is working together to get this run. And in the HTML file for calls directly from FileMaker, I defined these two functions. This is the one function for one button, and this is the other function. And in these functions, now you are using this globally accessible functions. React Gateway is the context, and then these two functions are then defined for both of them are defined here in the React Gateway component. And since the bundler is sometimes I don't know when to avoid it or how to control it in another way. Sometimes the bundler, when the functions are not used in the project, they are deleted by the minimizing and the compressing task of the bundler. No? So to avoid this, I call them just here, and so they are used in the project, so they are not deleted. And so in FileMaker, you can then use these two functions: check state in WebViewer and send data to WebViewer. When we look in the FileMaker project now, usually I call every function from the WebViewer using a general or one function, or what single function in this function, or you can call it also wrapper. And in this function, I then call the specific function that I want to use. And this is the ext call from FM script. And then here you can see the two functions they are called then in the FileMaker FileMaker context. Yeah. Any questions? Any thoughts?
I was wondering, I haven't used React much at all. Can you not define a global function? Like
in React?
Component?
No, this is what's not so easy to implement. Oh. The global function is this what this React Gateway component is doing. This is defining the global functions.
Okay. Yeah. I was surprised by how much work it looked like it took to do that. Yeah. Stuff.
Why you talked about the difference between frameworks and just libraries. Why would you use React over something else? What's the purpose of using React for a web viewer?
When you want to use something that is only accessible or usable during or due to React framework or bigger framework. For instance, when I want to develop a interface where the programming line by line would be much more complex, much more difficult compared to using React or whatever framework, and then to use a component library where you can use all the buttons, all the tables or whatever you want to have as an element, as an object on the interface. This is much easier to implement than using a simple HTML and JavaScript code.
Yeah, I agree. I've used React quite a bit in projects in the web viewer, and it just makes for simpler user interface design, keeping track of the state of, and you pointed that out. You showed that.
Keeping
track of the state. Yeah.
Even I have a project, even a simple looking page, but very dynamically, very the data which are coming from FileMaker are very complex, and to manage this with pure JavaScript, it would be impossible. And when I use a React framework, where I can then use the array aggregate functions, or map and find and whatever you have there, this is much easier to generate the interface with the help of React.
Are you using this in projects, or do you have a couple of widgets out there that are React based?
Yeah. I started my first projects were with Vue, but I realized that I didn't understand every or the way how this framework works was not so easy for me to understand. That was my impression. And then I had a project where I wanted to have something for iOS and Android, and that was the reason to start with React Native, and that was the starting for me to learn React. And I found out that the React ecosystem is much more like I think about programming. So it's for me the way how this framework works or thinks is much more convenient for me. And this is why I'm now using only React as a framework or for the projects.
I certainly go back and forth. I use React pretty heavily, but I still stick to regular libraries. What I'm doing now is kind of combining them. So there's a lot of charting libraries that have a React wrapper, they call it. So it's allowing you to use the regular format of the Apex chart library, but it adds some React around it so that you can handle changes of data or changes of chart types or something. So all of that stuff can be pushed into what they call state that allows you to make changes without refreshing the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. The state management is much more easier when you are using such a framework.
Yeah. And actually it's really good for us, because now that we can send data in without having to refresh the whole web viewer via like a substitution method or something, we can use React to make changes to what's displayed without having to refresh the whole web viewer. Very good.
Flickering anymore.
No flickering. Some libraries already have their own state manager, like I know Data Tables does, and the C3 chart, and even Apex charts. They have APIs that we can tap into. But if something doesn't have that, then we can use React around it to make changes to the UI.
Yep.
Wonderful. Well, this is another good resource for people out there. React is complex. It's a tough. I don't know if you feel like you understand it all, but I still wrestle with it on a daily basis. To me, it's a mindset that I have to get used to, a way of developing.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't think that I understand everything, but what I need to understand, I learn it and I try to understand it. Yeah. And of course, this is so huge project, so many possibilities you have in this area. So it's impossible to know everything. Yeah? And this is the funny thing is when I look at the communities around React, many developers struggling with the same problems that I have. So it's easy to find some help. And to find the solution, but for this it was not so easy. So it was really hard to put all the small things together and to get it run.
Thank you. That's good. Thank you. This is great.